Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Continuing on with Your Faith is Your Fortune, a great book by Neville Goddard. Doing chapter 6, I Am He. This one's got all sorts of good stuff in it. One, the key primary, and there's a great analogy at the end of this. A little long, not bad though. Little analogy at the end that I think is priceless, and it really helps us understand why, quote, living in the end is a lot easier to do. Why we don't need to question whether or not this is happening. Why we don't need to question whether or not our commandment has been received and is being fulfilled. Really kind of also helps break down the way we look at it from a timing perspective and all that. So great information in this chapter. Really gets into how we manifest and all the rules. And it's funny, as I've been doing my other channel, it's called On the Fringe. By the way, there's a link below. I'd love it if you guys could check it out and subscribe. But I've been doing a lot of stuff on Law of One recently. And one of the keys in there, at least when it comes to healing and kind of getting our energies right, is knowing the mind. And I really feel like this chapter is that crossover chapter too. So again, I think it ties into when you finally know your mind, know the way it works, know the way fears come up and different beliefs come up and different restrictions come up. By knowing the way our minds work, we can learn to navigate, we can learn to fix or heal, we can learn to kind of get through and get beyond some of the limitations. But really paying attention to what we're doing is first and foremost the most important thing. Anyways, I am He. All things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. This is a hard saying for those trained in the various systems of Orthodox religion to accept, but there it stands. All things, good, bad, and indifferent, were made by God. God made man, manifestation, in His own image. In the likeness of God made He him. Apparently adding to this confusion, it is stated, and God saw that His creation was good. Confuses a lot of people, obviously, right? Everything was good, but is it? Sometimes we don't necessarily manifest the good as much as we do the bad. What are you going to do about the seeming anomaly? How is man going to correlate all things as good when that which he is taught denies this fact? Either the understanding of God is erroneous, or else there is something radically wrong with man's teachings. To the pure, all things are pure. This is another puzzling statement. All the good people, the pure people, the holy people, are the greatest prohibitionists. Couple the foregoing statement with this one. There is no condemnation in Christ Jesus, and you get an impassable barrier to the self-appointed judges of the world. Such statement means nothing to the self-righteous judges blindly changing and destroying shadows. They continue in the firm belief that they are improving the world. And what he's basically saying here is for all of us that believe that suffering must be there, that you have to toil and you have to work hard and you have to sweat of the brow and you have to do this and you have to do that. We're living by sets of rules that we don't necessarily have to live by. And a lot of these rules were taught to us by our Orthodox religions, by our religions. A lot of these misunderstandings, and I don't mean disrespect to anything or anybody, but a lot of these misunderstandings come from the places that we were meant to trust the most and the ones that have probably taught us some of the worst behaviors that we have to undo. And that's why a lot of this manifesting stuff can be a little tricky because, again, there's things that are beat into us over life that we're essentially having to unravel, undo, let go of, and think of a better way, realizing that what we believe, what we think, what we say, what we do is what our reality will follow. Man, not knowing that his world is his individual consciousness outpictured, vainly strives to conform to the opinion of others rather than to conform to the one and only opinion existent, namely his own judgment of his self. Now again, people are the outpouring of us, right? The experiences we have outside of ourselves are created by the inside of ourselves, by thoughts and consciousness and beliefs that we have. And the people that we run into in the world are basically just demonstrating to us what we need to see because of what we're creating in the world. They're just actors in our play. They're not necessarily being mean or hateful or whatever. They're just being actors, and right now they're acting mean. And by accepting that we're not trying to impress them, it's the other way around. We need to impress ourselves. And when we do, the outpicturing that we see from others is significantly different. When Jesus discovered his consciousness to be this wonderful law of self-government, he declared, "And now I sanctify myself, that they also might be sanctified through the truth." He knew that consciousness was the only reality, that things objectified were nothing more than indifferent states of consciousness. Jesus warned his followers to seek first the kingdom of heaven, the state of consciousness that would produce the thing desired. Seek that first, and all things would be added to them. He also stated, "I am the truth." He knew that man's consciousness was the truth or cause of all that man saw his world to be. Jesus realized that the world was made in the likeness of man. He knew that man saw his world to be what it was, because man was what he was. In short, man's conception of himself determines that which he sees his world to be. You live in a world that's got strange things in it that you're not happy about. How do you see it? How do you see the world? You keep noticing the fact that everybody's mean to people, or everybody kicks puppies, or everybody's got kids, or everybody's in love. You're noticing something. And then you turn it around and equate it back as to somehow that's a limitation on your own part. No, all you're doing is just stating a fact. There's all of this stuff in the world around us. What do we choose to look at? The things that we're focusing on. The things that we are focusing on is what we're seeing. Our filters are what paint our picture. All things are made by God, consciousness, and without him there is nothing made that is made. Creation is judged good and very good because it's the perfect likeness of that consciousness which produced it. To be conscious of being one thing and then see yourself expressing something other than that which you are conscious of being is a violation of the law of being. Therefore, it would not be good. The law of being is never broken. Man never sees himself expressing that which he is conscious of being. But be it good, bad, or indifferent, it is nevertheless a perfect likeness of his conception of himself. It is good and very good. We have to remember that a lot of the things that we want to experience in life have to do with us, in a lot of cases, feeling like we're worthy of it. In a lot of cases, it really comes down to self-worth. Am I worthy of having this thing? Or in the back of my mind, are they mad at me still? Do I not have enough education for the job? Do I not make enough money to impress them? Do I not speak well enough to be able to have a conversation? In the back of my mind, do I have some sort of limitation that I keep holding on to as a cane as I walk through, and I'm using this cane to help? Because that cane's actually what's stopping you. Cast it aside and go on without it, knowing full well you don't need it. Not only are all things made by God, all things are made of God. All are the offspring of God. God is one. Things or divisions are the projections of the one. God, being one, must command himself to be the seeming other, for there is no other. The absolute cannot contain something within itself that it is not itself. If it did, then it would not be the absolute. It would be the only one. Essentially what he's saying is, I am the Alpha and the Omega. I'm the beginning and the end. I am everything that ever was, ever will be, ever shall be, ever could be. Which means you and me are also him. He created us. He made us in his image and likeness. He made us to experience lack and limitation from a standpoint where if you have everything already, how can you experience not having everything? You know, the adage goes when you've got someone that's a wealthy girlfriend, and what do you give the person that has everything? Sometimes giving them something that they don't know, or giving them some sort of thing of lack or some sort of limitation of what they aren't is actually something in and of itself. Meaning, and I'm not trying to get off too far off, but knowing yourself by not knowing yourself is part of why we're here. It's part of the process. It's kind of where doubts and stuff like that tend to come from. It's that aspect of, I know I could have that thing, but I'm going to throw some doubts and I'm going to throw some questions and some concerns in front of it and make this thing look harder to get than it is. But really, it just comes down to my decision and my commandment, if you will. Commands, to be effective, must be to oneself. I am that I am. is the only effective command. I am the Lord, and beside me there is none else. You cannot command that which is not, and there is no other. You must command yourself to be that which you would appear to be. It's not the words. Now, I've did a video on this recently. I had a little flack from a couple people, but I think for the most part it was decently received. You guys can check out my other videos. Maybe I'll put a link below, maybe. But it's not the words. And here's where Goddard backs me up on this one, 100%. Let me clarify what I mean by effective command. You do not repeat, like a parrot, the statement, I am that I am. Such vain repetition would be both stupid and fruitless. It is not the words that make it effective. It is the consciousness of being the thing which makes it effective. When you say I am, you are declaring yourself to be. The word that in the statement I am that I am indicates that which you would be. The second I am in the quotation is the cry of victory. Let me state that again. I am is stating your consciousness. It's stating the part of yourself that actually is manifesting. Stating that then suggests here is what I'm creating. Here is what I'm saying will be. And then the last I am, or the second I am, is your acknowledgement of victory. It's your acknowledgement of accepting the reality that you just decreed. I am that I am. Or I am that I am. Either way you say it, it still doesn't make any more sense, does it? Of course not. But what it comes down to is acknowledging your consciousness and then acknowledging that I'm becoming this thing. I am an amazing man for the woman who I love. Or I am an amazing woman for the man that I love. Or I'm an amazing catch for this company that needs a graphic designer and I've got all the skills that they need. I am that thing that is required to manifest whatever it is you desire. You need to be a certain way for the specific person. I am that person. I am those things. I am it. I am that I am. And I declare it. And not just declare it. I realize this is the truth. This is reality. This is what will be. This whole drama takes place inwardly with or without the use of words. Be still and know that you are. This stillness is attained by observing the observer. Repeat quietly with the feeling, I am, until you've lost all consciousness of the world and know yourself just as being. Awareness, the knowing that you are, is Almighty God, I am. After this is accomplished, define yourself as that which you desire to be by feeling yourself to be the thing desired. I am that. This understanding that you are the thing desired will cause a thrill to course through your entire being. When the conviction is established and you really believe that you are that which you desire to be, then the second I am is uttered as a cry of victory. This mystical revelation of Moses can be seen as three distinct steps. I am free, I really am. And what he's talking about here is understanding that by declaring this, when you truly understand that the first I am, the consciousness, acknowledging that I am declaring this to the universe, it is the universe's job to follow what I say. Period. It was made that way. It's supposed to be that way. The universe doesn't have feelings about it. It doesn't feel like it's being overworked. This is what it's here to. Yes, I am happy to do that. That's what I'm here to do. Your wish is my command. I will spring that and bounce it right back at you. And when we realize that we have that power, that strength in us already, given to us by the Creator, by Source, by Mother, Father, God, by knowing that we have that already in us, and that making that declaration makes it so, when we truly, truly understand that, then that is when this feeling, this excitement will come when you make these declarations. One, because it's exciting that you've come up with the next thing that you're creating. Truly is. Sometimes it's like, I don't know what I want. It was kind of how I felt starting this new channel, right? On the Fringe. Started it a couple months back, didn't really do much with it, and then finally had something I could run with. And so I did. And it's that excitement. when you finally realize, this is what I'm doing, this is who I am, and I'm expressing that and being that. It's extremely powerful. It continues. It does not matter what the appearance round about you are like. It doesn't matter what the world shows. All things make way for coming of the Lord. I am the Lord coming in the appearance of that which I am conscious of being. All the inhabitants of the earth cannot stay my coming or question my authority to be that which I am conscious that I am. Meaning, doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, doesn't matter what anybody else says, doesn't matter if you tell your manifestation to your friends and they say things that question and cause questions. That doesn't stop you. They can't stop you. Only you and me can stop ourselves by letting someone's questions affect us. Okay, that's why we don't think we talk to other people. That's why it's usually not a good idea. But by letting other people's opinions matter, and the fact that this is what I'm creating, this is my creation, this is my picture on my easel with my colors that I'm painting, and then to have somebody walk up and say, yeah, no, that's not it. And you'd be like, excuse me? I don't remember you being a part of this discussion ever before. It's ours to create. I am the light of the world, crystallizing into the form of my conception of myself. Consciousness is the eternal light which crystallizes only through the medium of your conception of yourself. Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live. Really important part that's coming up here, and people frequently talk about trying to change others, everyone's you pushed out, all these things. And again, here's another place where Goddard, I think, is very specific about how he sees other people. And what they are is expressions that are just reflecting back to us, but they are their own people. They are real unto themselves. They have feelings and emotions too. They're just playing a part in our lives. So do not try to change people. They are only messengers telling you who you are. Revalue yourself, and they will confirm the change. When there's something that's going on outside of ourselves that doesn't seem to be working, no one's hiring me because I'm too old. We've got that thought built in. Then what happens is everybody we bump into will confirm that for you. That's what you desire, then that's going to be the thing. Even though you're 39 years old and you've still got a long way to go, you're still going to be seen as old for whatever reason. That's not reality. Reality is what we choose it to be. So it can be your reality if you want it to be. If you need to have excuses and things to fall back on, but ultimately we don't, do we? And a lot of us place those there because we need some reason to explain why we aren't where we want to be, but we're not where we want to be because we keep making excuses and blocking ourselves. We'll continue. Now you will realize why Jesus sanctified himself instead of others. Why to the pure all things are pure. Why in Christ Jesus, the awakened consciousness, there is no condemnation. Awake from the sleep of condemnation and prove the principles of life. Stop not only your judgment of others, but your condemnation of yourself. Hear the revelation of the enlightened. I know and I am persuaded by the Lord Christ Jesus that there is nothing unclean of itself, but to him that seeth anything to be unclean to him, it is unclean. And again, happy is the man who condemneth himself not in that which he alloweth. Stop asking yourself whether or not you are worthy or unworthy to claim yourself to be that which you desire to be. You will be condemned by the world only as long as you condemn yourself. A lot of us wonder, can I have this? Is it okay if I have this? Give me a sign that this is the right thing. It's a silly question. And yes, maybe the universe will offer you some guidance a couple times, but eventually, do you understand that it's your choice? That any condemnation we have regarding this choice is our condemnation. We created it. Do you want this thing or don't you? It's up to us. It's up to you. It's not up to some unseen outside of us force. It's up to us. Is this what I want? Is this what I'm going to create? Then don't condemn yourself if this is what you want to create. Create it. Own it. Yes, this is what I'm going to have, and it's going to be best for all involved. That's the point of why we're doing this. You do not need to work out anything. The works are finished. The principle by which all things are made, and without which there is not anything made, that is made, is eternal. You are this principle. Your awareness of being is this everlasting law. You have never expressed anything that you were not aware of being, and you never will. Assume the consciousness of that which you desire to express. Claim it until it becomes a natural manifestation. Feel it and live within the feeling until you make it nature, until you make it your nature. Again, it comes down to that naturalness. If it doesn't feel natural, if it doesn't feel possible, if it doesn't feel real, then we need to keep imagining it until it does. That's all. It's okay that it doesn't. It's okay that on the 25th time, you still can't quite see it clearly. That's okay. Maybe the 26th time, it will. Keep at it. Persistence pays off. Realizing this is your painting to create. This is your picture to make. And don't worry about the direction. He'll give us more on that. Here's a simple formula. Take your attention from your present conception of yourself and place it on that ideal of yours. The ideal you had heretofore. Okay, who says that? Heretofore, thought beyond your reach. Claim yourself to be your ideal, not as something you will be in time, but as that which you are in the immediate present. Do this, and your present world of limitations will disintegrate as your new claim rises like a phoenix from its ashes. Claim it. Assume it. This gets down and again into that place where, is there something that's maybe holding you back? You feel like there's something that's blocking us? Assume there's a way around it. Don't worry about trying to figure it all out. Kind of like a child, right? Children don't necessarily know how things work. They don't necessarily know how you're going to get from A to B. They don't necessarily understand how making money works. They just understand that you keep swiping a card and somehow magically you're allowed to walk out of the store with things. They are not the ones that necessarily should be deciding how we move forward exactly step by step. They might say, hey, Daddy, I want to go to Disneyland. Awesome. Son, you've done everything. You've done your asking. Let me, the Father, take care of the request for you as there are unseen things. I might pull a little money out of savings. Maybe I'm planning on buying that fast pass so we can get on all the lines better and you're going to have an even better time. Maybe there's some little Star Tours thing that I can pay a little extra for that I know you're going to be stoked because you'll get your picture taken with R2-D2. Who knows? But the little child doesn't know and shouldn't. We're the little child asking for the things we want. Don't worry about how. That's not our place. Really, it's not. Don't worry about it. We don't really understand things big enough, well enough to be able to make those decisions. So let it happen. Be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours but God's. You do not fight against your problem. Your problem will only live as long as you are conscious of it. Take your attention away from your problem and the multitude of reasons why you cannot achieve your ideal. Concentrate your attention entirely upon the thing desired, or the person desired, or the place desired. Concentrate on that. I don't care what your present reality says, nor does Goddard. Who cares? All right, it's not quite what you want. All right, go back to the drawing board. That's all. Leave all and follow me. In the face of seemingly mountainous obstacles, claim your freedom. The consciousness of freedom is the father of freedom. It has a way of expressing itself which no man knows. Ye shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourself. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord with you. I am the Lord. I am, your consciousness, is the Lord. The consciousness that this thing is done, that the work is finished, is the Lord of any situation. Listen carefully to the promise. Ye shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourself, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord with you. With you. That particular consciousness with which you are identified is the Lord of the agreement. He will, without assistance, establish the thing agreed upon on earth. Can you, in the face of the army of reasons why a thing cannot be done, quietly enter into an agreement with the Lord that it is done? Can you, now that you have found the Lord to be your awareness of your being, become aware that the battle is won? Can you, No matter how near or threatening the enemy seems to be, continue in your confidence, standing still, knowing that the victory is yours. If you can, you will see the salvation of the Lord. Remember, the reward is to the ones who endure. Stand still. Standing still is the deep conviction that all is well. It is done. No matter what it is heard or seen, you remain unmoved, conscious of being victorious in the end. All things are made by such agreements, and without such an agreement, there is not anything made that is made. I am that I am. And one real quick thing popped into my head. How many of us have tried to create things and we see a day or two or three where things maybe aren't going really, really well? How many times have you wanted to do something and put effort towards it, maybe sales, and it just doesn't go and doesn't go and doesn't go, and eventually at some point a light switches on inside of you. You finally get it. And then from that point on, it's amazing what happens. Like it's a tenfold change. All of a sudden you start making sales that where you couldn't, you walk up to people, you walk up to an igloo salesman and you're selling them ice cubes. There's that place in life where eventually we realize, yes, this is me. Yes, I can do this. Yes, it's okay that things maybe don't seem to be working out at the moment. It doesn't matter. I know that the outcome is guaranteed. I know that the battle is won. It's not ours to fight. Just understand that it's yours. You got this. It's happening. You don't need to do anything fancy. You already did the work. Just let it unfold. In Revelations, it is recorded that a new heaven and new earth shall appear. John, shown this vision, was told to write, "It is done." Heaven is your consciousness, and earth its solidified state. Therefore, accept as did John that it is done. All that is required of you who seek a change is to rise to a level of that which you desire. Without dwelling upon the manner of expression, record that it is done by feeling the naturalness of being it. How great it feels swim in this reality, because it feels so good and so natural. Here is an analogy that might help you to see this mystery. Suppose you enter a motion picture theater just as the feature picture came into its end. All that you saw of the picture was the happy ending. Because you wanted to see the entire story, you waited for it to unfold again, for the movie to start again, right? With the anticlimactic sequence, the hero is displayed as accused, surrounded by false evidence, and all that goes to wring tears from the audience. But you, secure in the knowledge of the ending, remain calm with the understanding that regardless of the seeming direction of the picture, the end has already been defined. That needs to sink in for all of us. The end is already defined. Just because the picture's playing out, and it's quite a dramatic little adventure that we're on, and sometimes it looks like it didn't happen, and sometimes it looks like the heroine or the hero's not going to get what they want, but then all of a sudden something happens on the outside and allows us to get in there, and bam! Yeah, that's pretty much how life works out, right? They always say art imitates reality. That's where our movies come from. That's where the hero's journeys come from. It's what we go through in life. So, in like manner, go to the end of that which you seek. Witness the happy end of it by consciously feeling you express and possess that which you desire to express and possess. And you, through faith, already understanding the end, will have confidence born of this knowledge. This knowledge will sustain you through the necessary interval of time that it takes for the picture to unfold. Ask no help of man. Feel it is done, by consciously claiming to yourself that it is now done. Consciously claim that. Know that it is happening now. Know that this is unfolding now. Know that by the very declaration that you've begun the path to get to it. You're heading to Disneyland. Don't worry about how it unfolds. Don't worry how long it's going to take mom and dad to get us there. Don't worry about it. Just know you're going to Disneyland, and hold on to that thought and be excited about it and look forward to it and figure out what ride are you going to go on first, and then what? And then what? And then what? What are you going to do with this dream? Because it is yours. So now plan The day after your dream unfolds, the day after you finally have the new job, the specific person, what are you doing the following day? That's living in the end. That is when you've acknowledged that, yes, this is definitely happening. And that is when you acknowledge that I am He, like Goddard's talking about. Knowing our minds, knowing the way things work, knowing that we own this, that this is our creation, that this matrix that we all swim around in is our creation. It's ours to unfold, and on top of that, it's ours to declare. What is it that you want? Make it so. Feel it. Feel it like it's real. Feel it like it's normal. Feel it like this is a normal day in paradise where I'm driving around in my Ferrari instead of my Honda Civic. That's your normal. I don't have a Honda Civic, just so you know. Seemed germane to say. It's our world to create. And when you know that it's your world to create, that is when the feelings almost become more intense. The goosebumps start to happen. The reality that, oh my gosh, this is mine to create. And everything starts to unfold before you. Dan, RadioStyle.